Hello, Midnight Readers. Welcome to this Friday's edition of Real Talk Fridays. So, the other day I ran into a friend that I went to college with, and we've been friends for a while. She's that kind of friend that, we keep in touch every few months or so, just kind of check in and whatnot, but, we don't see each other all the time anymore. We're more like social media friends, and occasionally hang out. However, she's that type of friend that always has something going on and has some sort of story to share. And lately, the last few times I have talked to her or seen her, it's been a new guy that she's dating. Now, it's not just this one new guy that she's dating. It is literally a new guy every time I have seen her or spoken to her. So, what she explained has been going on with her is she's been pretty much dating a whole series of guys, right? And, she called them her... It was either the flavor of the week or the flavor of the month. That's a term that she's endearingly entitled the guys, the series of guys she's dating. And we started talking. I'm like, oh, so is this like, a midlife crisis? Are you just going through a thing? What's up, right? And she pretty much was explaining to me that she really feels like she's at a loss. She doesn't want to be serial dating. She wants to find a guy and she wants to settle down, but all of these guys are like missing the mark by far. Although at first they seem like, they're kind of what she wants, so she's giving them these chances, but she's at a point where she's like, oh my god, is it me? Am I just asking for too much? Or is it just the dating pool is not what it used to be? Are the fish all missing something? Are they all kind of, Nemo fish, if you will? And I was like, well, like, she never used to have like this crazy set of unrealistic expectations. So I'm like, did your wants change? Has your bare minimum altered over the years? And she's like, well, yes and no, but she's like, I think like the things that I want are just the basics, I want, somebody honest and, pretty much that's just kind of easygoing and doesn't get all riled up and somebody that can make me laugh, but is also going to be caring and there for me when need be. And of course it will go both ways, but those are like the bare minimums. So she's not even having like this list. She doesn't want them to be able to sing and dance and be drop dead gorgeous. It's not any of this like wild stuff. It's all, pretty normal, pretty basic, if you will, things. And that got me thinking, back when I first started dating, if you go way back, right? Let's say high school. Let's start back then. My expectations were pretty wild now that I think about it. And I feel so sad for her that she can't like even find this one like set of basic things, because gosh, mind you, back then for me I was bad. I've always had very high expectations, and I mean, I'm not God skipped to earth or anything. I have no right but it was very, to me, matter of fact. It was what I was attracted to, what would make me content, and some of it was a little superficial, but it was always my bare minimums that I looked for, and that would be the basis of me dating somebody. Everything else was just extras, and I was able to find the bare minimums, back then, often enough. But yeah, I started thinking like, where did my expectations come from? Because, okay, let's get on the same page. You're probably thinking, what the hell were your expectations? Alright guys, so one thing I was actually really bad about that was really superficial, and even to this day, I still am, and it's not, for me, when I look at it, it's not coming from like this superficial point of view. It's a comfort level. It's something that like affects me on a deeper level inside. It's like, people have like sensory issues. I have it with height. Okay, if a guy is my same height or just barely above, to me, I mean, this could be the best looking guy in the world. It could be the most genuine, most masculine, whatever. He could be the perfect guy. But to me, I feel like something's off. I feel like he's not the right kind of masculine to match my energy of my femininity to his masculinity, if that makes sense. So in high school, even into college, I always had this rule that I wouldn't date a guy if he was less than 6 foot. 6 foot was my minimum. Now, mind you, I am not even 5'5". So there's like no rhyme or reason to this. I don't know what it is. It's just the way I feel when I stand next to this person. I want to, like, I don't know, when I stand next to somebody taller, not only for me does it, like, check that attractiveness box, but it also, like, you know, you feel safe, you feel comfortable, you feel you're the right, like, height, I guess you would say, to, like, kind of snuggle in, to be held, to, I don't know, there's just so many things. And then I was talking to my friend, she's like, oh my god, that's always been me too. And so she's like, I even have moved it down to 5'9", and I was cracking up because I was like, oh my gosh, you know, this poor girl, she's like switching up all of her wants and all of her desires to try to just find one guy that's somewhat okay. But she told me, she looked me in the eye and she's like, you know, I think it's because I have daddy issues. And I was like, wait, what? And then I started thinking, she's saying the height thing is due to daddy issues? I was like, okay, walk me through this. She's like, well, think about it. Why do you like the taller guys? And I told her what I just told you guys. And she's like, exactly. You feel safe. They can wrap you up. They can hold you. It's like you want a daddy figure to be there to protect you. And she's like, what went wrong with your dad? What what happened with you and your father that you're looking or seeking this man figure that's like you see as masculine and protective? And I was like, well, maybe. I don't know. There could be truth to this, I guess. My mom raised me, and my father wasn't in my life whatsoever. I never knew my father. But in my life, I had a lot of guys, a lot of masculine men. I had 3 cousins that were very protective. They were all about in between 7 and 10 years older than me, and with them came all of their friends, and I was the baby of the whole family, right? So I was always very protected. Somebody was always giving me a piggyback somewhere, all the way into my teenage years. I always had a bodyguard going with me to wherever I went. You know, I was the baby. I was always taken care of and loved, so I don't feel like I ever had a void whatsoever that I was needing to fill, and that's what she said that she kind of was. Her father was never approving of her. She, even as a child, recognizes that she always had to try her hardest and go above and beyond to seek his approval, but never got it, was never successful. And ultimately, he ended up leaving with another woman, and that woman had a daughter, and that's where she says her issues stem from. So she wants this guy to, or she wants a guy to come and, fulfill that hole in her puzzle, if you will. Also, but that I'm still over here going, I think it's more of an attractiveness thing to me. I feel that it's what I'm drawn to. The other, I don't want to say repulses me. I have nothing against short guys. Don't get me wrong. I have nothing against men that are under 6 foot. A lot of my friends aren't even 6 feet. A lot are well over. But it's just, I don't know how to explain it. It's just what I'm drawn to. I don't think there's a thought process behind it. I don't think I'm trying to subconsciously fulfill anything. It's just what I like. I don't know. It's just a preference, I think. And so I told her that, and we agreed to kind of disagree on the subject. So I was like, okay, let's talk about the other things going on here. It's like, what else are you trying or looking for that's not so superficial, but that that's a basic requirement. And she's like, well, what's really hard is to find a guy that's not on blast on social media. I'm like, okay, what do you mean? Explain on blast. And she's like, that's out there complaining about, oh, this happened to me, somebody took my parking spot, or I had a bad day, or I'm depressed. People that are constantly putting everything on blast on social media are super attractive to her. And I was like, okay, well, that to me is a obvious basic requirement. There's no way in hell I would ever go for somebody putting their stuff on blast and whining and crying all over social media, ever. And I mean, it's not something I've ever done. I'm not one. You will not find any pertinent details about my life on social media, because guess what? I'm not a broadcast channel. It's my personal life. That is my personal life. So if you're in my life, yeah, you might know about these things. If I talk to you, if you're my best friend, if you're in my close circle, yeah, you'll know what's going on. But if you're one of the lurkers, the few thousand lurkers out there that are on my page, then sorry, it's on lockdown, because that's how it should be. I don't know. And I feel like people that do that are attention seekers. And they're like, oh no, I just post because I need to get it off my chest, or just want to put it out there. But why do you need to put it out there to those people? Why do you have the need to put it out there? Don't you have your close-knit of friends, or your support group within your family and friends and whatnot that you could talk to? Or get a journal. It still gets it out there. It doesn't put stuff you might regret later out there. It doesn't make people make snap judgments about you based on it, if it's in a journal or amongst your close friends and family. I don't know. I completely agree with her on that one. I would never. And it goes for politics as well for me. If they're out there posting out there and pushing their views and constantly degrading other things, I'm not going to go for a guy like that either. And so I was like, okay, so far to me, if I had to choose a guy based on her minimum requirements are necessary. I would have to have those to choose a guy. So at this point, I'm like, okay, this is still very realistic to me. So what else are you asking for? What is possibly going wrong here? That, you know, I mean, it's just like, okay, well, there has to be sexual chemistry. I'm like, okay, explain. And she's like, well, our energy has to match up in the bedroom. If, you know, if I'm someone that likes to do it often and, you know, get down to business regularly, I don't want a guy that's like, oh, I'm too tired all the time. And I'm like, okay, I totally get that. That's also, I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong. Sure, somebody might be tired. It might not be the right day. But if that's happening more times than not and you're getting turned down, there's a problem. I agree, because when she said to meet her energy, I thought she was going to have like all sorts of play toys and be into like this weird stuff that the guys are getting scared of. No, it's a very basic. She just wants there to be that desire there. And, you know, honestly, there's nothing more attractive than a guy letting you know that he really wants you, that he almost needs it. That is super attractive. That's like the one thing that's going to get it going all the time. If the guy's constantly turning you down, you're like, whoa, hold on. Are you straight? No, just kidding. But, I mean, almost not. That is something that, to me, is necessary. I could never imagine being in a relationship where that element is missing, because it's equally as important as others. And did you know that being intimate has a whole bunch of healing benefits as well? From simple stuff like helping headaches. It can ease your headache. Did you know that? It's a relieving stress and everything else. Burning calories. It has so many beneficial factors. It can make so many ailments wrong better. Yeah, so on top of it just like bringing this intimacy, it also can have like so many benefits. So, of course. So that's 3 out of 3 for me. I mean, necessary things on my list as well. So I'm like, okay, keep going. Where is this problem? Tell me what else. What's going on for you? And she's like, okay, well, there's, you know, a few other requirements I have. And I'm like, okay, let's get on with it. What are they? She's like, well, I do want him to either have one of the 2 qualities. I want him to be able to sing or dance. I'm like, so here it is. She's like, no, but we don't even get into this conversation. I don't even look for that stuff, you know, until like the 3rd, 4th, 5th date. She's like, and I haven't even made it that far with these guys. You know, there's so many things going on that she's like, those things are even on the back burner. Those are just added extras now at this point. She would like them to be there, but they're not deal breakers anymore. They used to be, but they're not anymore. And I was like, okay. So if we push those aside and take that one requirement off your list, what else is there? She's like, well, I need him to be a good driver. I want to be able to like fall asleep in the car if I need to, or if we're going on a long road trip, I know that I don't have to be stressed out the path that he's going to be driving. And I'm like, well, damn it. There you go. It's all over. That's the problem. You want him to be a... I'm just kidding. Totally kidding. No, but for me, that is actually something that I see as a requirement as well. If you've been in a handful of accidents and they've been your fault, or you haven't been able to, I mean, some are unavoidable, but if you've had tickets and accidents and everything up the yin-yang, no thank you. I'd rather at this point walk. There's so many bad drivers. Have you guys realized or noticed lately that it's just getting worse and worse? I've literally been in 2 accidents in my life. One was some guy went barreling through a red light and it clipped my car. The other one switched lanes behind me on the freeway, and I was driving a lifted truck. And it came up under my bumper, flipping my truck and rolling it. And mind you, like, each of these accidents were, gosh, over 10 years apart. But I'm like, I mean, this is completely unrelated, but it was caused by males. And those were my only instances, but they were pretty gnarly. They were bad enough that if I don't have a good driver with me, I don't want to go with you. I will drive, even if I'm super tired. I'm the one that's going to be taking care of it and handling business. So I agree with her. Yeah, a good driver is kind of like, for me, it shows that it's a sign of a strong guy. Like, it's a strength, I guess you'd say, not a strong guy, but it's a strength, and you feel safe with the person. And there's certain things that need to be in place that you feel safe when you're with that person. You know, I don't want to have to feel like the man in the relationship. I don't want to be the one always having to take. I love taking care of people, and I'm good at it, but. And I don't. That should not sound cocky in any way. It's just that when I do something, I put my all into it. I go above and beyond to make sure everybody and everything's okay. It's kind of my weakness, actually. When somebody's sad or hurt or whatever, I kind of go out of my way to make sure that we get them better and to where they should be. So, with that being said, I guess I kind of segued off of the topic. But with that being said, it comes into under this category or this umbrella, I guess, of feeling safe with the person you're with. So I went back to her and I was like, I agree. This is another check off that may make it harder to find a potential partner, but it is a requirement for me as well. So I agree with that. I was like, keep going. And she's like, okay, I want somebody that's like emotionally stable. And I was like, oh fuck, now you've done it. Game over. Game over. Have you gone out of your house lately? Have you seen the shit show that's out there? Okay, so all joking aside, I was like, okay, explain to me what you mean by emotionally stable. And she's like, I just don't want a guy that's hot-headed. I don't want something that's triggered easily. I want the guy that, like, you know, takes on the outlook of life. Like, he's kind of chill, laid back. There's no bad days. Everything could be, like, worked out. And, oh my God, if that isn't a basic requirement in a real man, yeah. Don't get me wrong. Everyone can have a bad day, and that's okay. But it's how you handle it. If you're lashing out and kicking things and going and getting drunk and hitting walls and fighting, that's weak. I'm sorry. It is. It is weak. You cannot handle your shit. And that person shouldn't be in a relationship with somebody else because you're going to bring that detrimental behavior that you haven't overcome or healed from or whatever into this relationship. And no offense, but entering a relationship with those mannerisms, it's doomed. It's not going to be successful. It's not going to be healthy. So yeah, it's another no-brainer. That is a necessity. Me personally, I want my guy to be my rock. If I get stressed out about something, I want him to be reminding me, you know, let's look at it this way. It's going to be okay. What can we do to make it better? I don't want them to be like, yeah, well, fuck that. And like, you know, getting this attitude and getting crazy. That's really, really unattractive in a guy. And same with if they get loud. If you're going to be dominant in the bedroom. Don't act out and be loud and crazy in public. So yeah, I was with her. I'm on board with like pretty much all of her points so far. The singing and dancing, again, I agree, not necessary. But everything else is basic. And I was like, okay, what else? What else is on your list? Where is this like deal breaker? And she's like, that's it. And I was like, that's your entire list? She's like, yeah. I'm like, well, shit, your entire list matches my entire list, except for my list requires them to have a personality and be kind of fun and funny, too, and adventurous. So I have a few more on my list than she does, and she's out there struggling, and I'm like, oh, man. Good thing I'm not out there trying to date right now, because holy moly, there'd just be no point. I mean, really, wow. So those are my thoughts on the dating scene. What do you guys think? Is it hopeless for us women nowadays? Or are our lists, do you think that my friends' lists are just too outlandish, too unrealistic? Is it too much to ask? Comment, write in, and let me know what you guys think, okay? Thank you for listening to my rant. Hope you guys have a wonderful Friday.